body. Alrighty, stretch night tonight. Feeling a bit stiff in the lower back, hips are a bit locked up. Anyway, we'll see what we can do. That's what happens when you sit in the stool for too long. Typing at your computer. Alrighty, so let's just get some stretches happening through the lower back and the hips, hey? Alright. So starting on our hands and knees, just hinging back. Just spend a bit of time here just stretching through the front of those hips. So I want you to rock side to side. So drop one hip down. Feel that stretch. And slowly switch to the other side. Okay, coming up from the hinging back. Alright, so arms are high. We've got our toes tucked, our bum's quite high in the air. Okay, we're just going to do butterfly wings, okay? So we're going to open our arms up and close them whilst we've got our forehead resting on the floor. Stretch those shoulders out when we get towards the top. So if you're having trouble sliding these hands up because you're tight through the shoulders, just use your thumb and your fingers to crawl yourself up, like that. Slowly. Depending how low your backside is towards the floor will depend on how easy it is to get your arms up. So if you hoik yourself up a little bit, we'll get a little bit tighter through those shoulders as we move, especially up the top there. What? Look out, Turbo. Blimey.
You're coming. Toby. Toby.
Oh, there you go. Alright. And slowly coming up. Let's come to our feet. Alright, nice. So working our feet straight ahead straight in front of us. Underneath our hips. Okay, we're just going to roll down. So roll the chin to the chest. Keep your head as close as you can to the body. So a little bit of back extension, back flexion, whatever we need to do. Bend the knees to keep the head as close as we can to the center line of the body. Slowly hinging down. So our feet are, I don't know, about 15 centimeters apart through the middle there. And we're just going to just gently twist from side to side whilst we're down here. So we're going to do a little bit of twisting today in our stretching. Hopefully we can get to some of the obliques and side of the body, work into the hips a little differently. Go side to side, nice and easy, nice and steady, just oscillating over those hamstrings. And coming to the center. Alright. Slowly working our way up. Once again, nice and steady, rolling ourselves up. Shoulders come over. Okay, we're going to link fingers behind. Knuckles coming down towards the floor. Behind our backside, under our tailbone. Squeeze those shoulder blades back and pop that chest forward. You can lift the chin up if you like. Take the chin up and forward, stretch to the neck. Nice. Okay. Just releasing those hands. Bring them out in front. Do the opposite. Let's reach forward. Bring the chest. Squeeze the chest. Bring the shoulders together in the front. Open that upper back up. Okay. And from here we're just going to like just a gentle lean to the side with the head. So keep the neck straight, don't just flop through the neck. We want to tip the head on the top of that neck. Feel a nice stretch through the trap. Slowly bring the head up, and once again, head to one side. Slowly bring that head up. You can really feel that stretch running from side to side when you tip that head over. It's cool. Alrighty, so working this side to side stuff. Alright, whilst we're standing up, let's just stretch out through the side of the body here. Just reaching down towards our knee. So, don't let the head come over, keep the head nice and square on the top of your shoulders. Stick the hip out. You can lean onto that leg if you like, just stretching out through this side of the body. Take that arm up now, just lean over the top, increase that stretch. And slowly coming back down to center. Alright, so starting nice and easy, just gently take that hand down the outside of that thigh towards the knee. Keep the head square on those shoulders. So we lean over. So try not to lean back in this, or lean forward in this, but straight down the leg line. It'll take, like, if you come towards the back a little, you'll start to feel it in this side back as well. It'll pinch a little. So if we're straight over that hip with that shoulder, it'll be a much nicer stretch through here. Okay, head's nice and square. We're going to take the arm up and over, increase that stretch through the arm line. Stick that hip out as far as you need to go. Get the weight right on that outside leg there if you like. Nice stretch across that hip bone there. Ooh, yeah, it's good. Good stretch, this one. And taking that arm out over nice and slowly, straightening ourselves up. Beautiful. Alrighty, coming to the floor. Just tip these cameras down a little. There we go, bit more floor space in view. Alrighty. Up on one knee, so half kneeling. Okay. So just stretching this hip now. We're going to do this hip. Start with this. Okay, we're on our knees now. We'll come do some more on this work, some more of this type work standing up a little later on. So just like starting with the knee just behind the ankle, the front leg there. The knee is underneath this hip. Okay, we're just going to gently ease this hip forward. Toes tucked at the back. So we're trying to just get everything nice and straight. So we want this heel straight behind this hip once it's square, okay? Getting this upper leg straight so we can stretch it properly in through the hip, okay? So just gently taking this knee forward. Leaving that knee there and stretching out through the front here. Okay. If we take the same arm as knees we're kneeling on, just take it up. Just reach for the ceiling, nice and straight. Just adds a little bit more to that stretch through the hip there. Gently hinging backwards to bring the arm down. Okay, switching knees. So look at your knees where they are and the hips. Nice, easy to set up this way. Make sure the heel of the knee that you're going to be kneeling on, it's straight behind. Then we just bring this other foot up. Toes pointing straight ahead. Just wiggle it out in front so the knee is just behind the heel. So when we bring this forward, it's over the top. So we've got something to like rest our weight through if we need to like lean on this, okay? All right, just gently moving forward with that hip comes forward, the knee comes forward. Feel that stretch. We don't want to be coming forward enough we feel pressure in the toes, okay? We want to be feeling nice, even pressure. So press down through the heel, okay? As you come forward, wriggle those toes at the front there. Okay, we'll take this arm up now and stretch a little more. So just some fairly orthodox stretching to start. Okay, gently hinging back, bringing that arm down. Okay. Alrighty, still on our knees, go to the other side again. So the first knee we were kneeling on in that stretch. I'm going to bring that other leg out in front as well again. So this time, when we hinge forward, we'll get a nice stretch here, but we want this knee to be over the top of that ankle, okay? So just wiggle that foot out whilst you bring that hip forward, okay? We're going to bring the hands to the floor now, okay? Alrighty. So in if we were to push up on that, we'd be in a really nice, long, tight, low lunge, okay? Whilst we're here, knees still on the floor, quite balanced and we're low to the ground, we're going to take this knee out, okay, and just let it fall out to the side. We've been practicing this one a little bit, okay? This hand here needs to be like in line with that knee there on the floor. Otherwise, we're just going to be like sort of out of shape. We just want to line the whole spine and pelvis and everything up as we just allow that knee to fall out to the side. Let yourself rock on that foot so you can see the sole of your foot as you lean out as that knee goes away from you. Slowly bring that knee in, and we can like work our way back up. You can see how far out we are when we do that. So we need to replace that foot with this one now. It's quite a reach, so you can like really work on this one to start with, and then you can just bring that knee forward. Am I getting a good stretch? Is my hip square? I need to get that square as well. Toes forward, pointing straight ahead. Back a little bit, you can see that foot. There we go. Alright, so once we're there, as low as we can almost get with that stretch on this back hip, bringing the arms to the hands to the floor. This shoulder is in line and this hand's in line with that knee there, and just let that knee fall out to the side. See how much of the sole of the foot we can see. La la la. So I'm learning lots more about how the hips affect our back. How the hips are out of alignment, how they can point our back and give us back pain, weak back, seemingly weakened backs. It also affects our leg strength somewhat. Okay, bringing that knee in and slowly pressing ourselves back. Dragging that heel in. Okay. Alright, one more stretch while we're down here. Back to the first side again on that knee. Take the foot out nice and long so we're straight up above this knee. Foot's out in front, and let's bring that toe up this time. So we're shortening ourselves up just for a hamstring stretch, okay? We're just going to lean over that leg there. Okay. If you need to put a hand down over here, it's fine, if you can reach the floor. We can put them both sides, that way the chest's nice and straight over the top of that knee. Slowly work our way back up. Going to switch legs. We'll come back to that one after we've done this one again. We'll do this one twice. Leg out in front. Okay. Over the top of that leg there. Toes up in the air. Got that sole of the foot out in front there. So you can get a hand to both each side of that leg and just lower our chest towards the knee and just breathe nice, gently. So try not to hold your breath. Like just keep breathing as best you can through stretches. Each time we exhale, we're going to release some tension. When you inhale, it's going to come on again. So if we're going to hold our breath, we're just going to hold tension, okay? Slowly working our way back up. Back to this first side. We'll see if that's any better. So we're giving it a minute or two just to ease itself out. Okay, and we're just going to come over the top of that knee once again. And exhale as we come down. Because the foot's up, it's like really hard. It's really hard to point the toe in this one. The leg is pushing down behind the heel, so it's sort of keeping that foot up. I don't know if you can feel that or not. It's just the weight, like over the heel. It's like it's pivoting there, so that's on its own. This weight here is like keeping that toe up, which is keeping tension in the back of the leg. So it's a little bit less hard work to get that toes up to activate here. So in a way, this is like more, I suppose. What's the word I'm looking for? We're almost falling into this stretch on our own. Another thing to remember is like keeping that foot up. Don't let it fall out to the side. Okay, give it up nice and tall. Okay, I think we've had enough on that side. Over to the second side once again. So if you can like leave it, you can let your foot hang out there, but as soon as you come over the top and this hip starts to go back as you push down, you can feel those toes come up into the air. Puts everything in the right spot. Alright, great, awesome. Whew. Quad stretches. How many ways can we do a quad stretch? Come up with one the other day. Like this just simply doing our hero pose, for instance. A little bit of quad stretch there. We can feel those knees like tight. But if we lean back into these, we can get even more of a stretch. Okay, just straighten ourselves out a little bit. If we wriggle ourselves between our heels, we get both of those stretch up the front of the lower leg and one through the front of the top leg. depending on how supple you are up here will depend on what you're feeling there. Of course, the lower you get, the more your stretch you'll get. But this becomes quite hard, hey, like getting yourself down and trying to manage that. So I came up with something a little bit easier the other day. So, if we go to a roller, okay, we can come over the top of a roller, set the top of our foot there just behind the toes on that roller, and now we haven't got anything underneath here, so we're getting a bit more stretch under the front. But when we lean back a little bit, we're not coming over as far, so the angle is less, so we can actually get back further and feel much safer in this stretch. Okay, so just by angling ourselves up somewhat, and you may be able to reach the floor and give yourself a little bit more, so you can feel yourself really flatten out through the front. Okay, but remember, we need to relax through the legs. The feet have got to be relaxed, the shins, the knees, the quads, in order to get that stretch. Alright, nice and easy. Okay, just another way of doing the stretches, and of course you'll get a much deeper stretch through the ankle there at the same time. Right, tucking our toes, work your way back over those toes, so really bending on those toes, stretch those toes out as we go. So tuck your toes there and just wiggle your knees back, leaving your toes where they are until they won't move anymore, and just sit back on them. Really give them a good stretch. A little rock side to side, you can even get the little toes involved in that if you again. Alright, there we go, wriggle those toes out. Alright. Great stuff. A couple of newbies today. Did really well. Alrighty, so I'm going to take our, no, we're not going to do that. We're going to come onto our knee, okay, hand and knee. Remember that tuck position where we were just a second ago, like this. We're going to straighten the other leg out, okay. So if you can see how I am there, this heel is right up underneath my bum, alright. So what I'm going to do now is get this shoulders of this knee, okay? I come down there like that, okay? So essentially, what I've done, if I was to stand up, is to get this knee up the side like that. But done it a lot easier because gravity has helped me. And I've just folded myself down underneath like that, okay? Okay, we come to the other side, and I'll show you something, how we can work in that stretch to get a little bit more out of it. So, bring that foot up like that, and then all I do is just rock that toe forward, that knee forward over that toe, and then just bring this shoulder down. So it's, you know, it's not a hard stretch to get into because gravity is like keeping us like down. The knee is in the back of the shoulder, like you couldn't do that standing up, I don't think. I'd like to see someone who could do that for me. What happens with that leg at the moment, I'm not really concerned about just yet. When we come to the next stage, yeah,
I just want you to get down here and know that you can get there. Can you get the shoulder to the floor? How close can you get it? All those sorts of things. Okay, slowly coming out of that.
So you may find a little stretch in there. There's a bit of rotation happening, but we're getting that knee up. We're getting some pelvis rotation with it. So we're going to work on that. So if we come to the first side, what I want you to do when you get there is to squeeze the butt on the leg that's folded up, and I want you to push the hip forward and underneath you, okay? So I'll just demonstrate that and just point to what I'm doing. So I'm here, I'm there, and what I'm doing now is squeezing the butt on this side and punching the hip forward and inwards. So it's coming in, and I'm really lining myself up muscularly. I'm now lining my hip and knee up in a nice straight line. Okay. Get a nice stretch through the back here through that activation. The foot's out behind us. Try to get the foot pointing straight out at right angles away that way. Okay. And then we just work our shoulder down a little more. We've just worked the hip round a bit more. Get a little bit more stretch. Okay. A little bit more complicated, but again, not too bad to get into. The activation of the muscles is like the key. Just pulling that around, start to get a stretch down the opposite side, just behind the obliques there. Okay,
I'm not sure what you mean.
Shut up, Alexis. Alrighty, spinning around down the side. Alexis got no idea what I'm talking about. Okay, so that foot out that way once we get there, okay? It's lining the hip up. It's lining up with this hip. We're trying to squeeze this hip around like that by squeezing the butt that's underneath, okay? So squeezing it to the front. And again, like we just get a little bit more stretch when we start activating muscles from the other side, okay? So we squeeze it. Rotate. We may even find our chest opening up as well whilst we go. Right, what? And slowly working our way out. Okay. Nice and easy. So the butt squeezing, rotates the hip that way, the knee goes away, we've got a little stretch there, we've got a stretch up here. Just from activating that. And of course getting a knee into the back of the shoulder is like, we could probably do it from here, but again, what we feel down here, in our sit back stretch. Okay. Just transferring that around through the pelvis. Okay, it's coming to our back now. It's going well, alright. That's great. With our knees bent, like so, just going to bring one knee up and just hug it into our chest. Okay, other knee, so lower that one down, just bring the other knee up. And release. And now both knees, just bringing them up, each side of the chest, round the back, bring the hips up, squeeze the knees up to the armpits. La 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 la, la la.
knees to the floor. We're going to lay the knees to the side nice and easy now. So keep the shoulder blades pinned to the floor. I take those arms out wide if you need to. Just gently lift the head and look the opposite direction through the knees for a little bit of a spine twist. Whee! And slowly we're going to wind ourselves the other way. So knees come up, go over, head goes over the other way as we go. There we are. And with these stretches, we're looking for that nice gentle tug from shoulder through rib cage over hip. There and down into the inner thigh and out. So, like I'm trying to evolve is that there is, in our stretches, is that there is no one single way that we do a stretch. We can do a stretch any way we want if we get the stretch that we're looking for. So if it feels great, if the stretch feels great, well, it's a great stretch. And if it's not, doesn't look like something that we've seen before, then we've invented a new stretch. All these sorts of things. And stretching can be done just through this activation of the opposite muscles and things like that, like squeezing that glute there, getting that hip stretch there, and that stretch over the lower back, all those sorts of things. So bringing those knees up. Bring the feet together and let those knees fall apart in the butterfly. So we're doing a bit of work on the inner thigh today, the psoas. A little bit lower back, as you can feel. But again, just really targeting quads, hamstrings, hips. A little bit in the shoulders to start with. So whilst we're in a position like this, and we're looking for a stretch, there's nothing stopping us like pulling this oblique on and pulling that hip up. Do we feel a stretch somewhere else? It's like, what does that do? Does it give us a stretch on the inner thigh? For me it does. It's like, oh yeah, I can like give myself a little curl there, feel a stretch, activating it. This muscle's giving me a bit of stretch there. Go to the other side, just squeeze that side. Just feel that hip, that hip move, this muscle on this side of the back and the oblique just comes on. Feel that stretch there. There is nothing stopping us doing that at all, no matter what. We can arch the back up if we like. We can do whatever we like. If it makes us feel good, it makes us feel good. And no one's going to argue with that, especially not me. Bring these knees together now. All right, I'm slowly going to roll to our side and come to our feet again. Okay. Now some of these like stretches are really easy. Like it's a wonder. You sometimes go, oh, I wonder why I didn't think of that before. But yeah. So the psoas, the muscle in here, and the hip flexor up in there too, and all the rotators up underneath the hip, underneath the abdominals there. How do we target those easily? So this is one I'd sort of forgotten about until recently, working with somebody on hip work. So what we're going to do is the right foot is going to stay out in front, and we're going to turn the left foot out to right angles. Okay. Now it will depend on like how much stretch you want in this, but what we're going to do is turn the hips now to go with that foot. So we're going to turn the hips from straight to this side. Okay. So we're rotating that leg in that socket there. Okay. All right. So that's the initial stretch, and all we do then is just bend that knee, nice and easy. We'll work into this one a little bit more as we go. Slowly coming up. Really easy to transition. We just bring that foot forward. A bit like yoga really. Turn that foot out. So the feet are the same distance apart from that side and this side. So then when we turn and we bend that knee, we feel what sort of stretch we're getting on each side. So that leg is quite straight. We're getting extension in the leg, in the hip there. It's going back a little bit, so we're going to stretch at the front. Because we're staying up tall, we're not leaning over this. We're staying up tall with the chest. So I believe in like getting more than one stretch at a time. If we can get more than one stretch at a time, it's just more effective. It's how the muscles work together. We come up, turn to the front, bring that foot. So if we take the feet out a little bit wider, not too wide, just a little bit wider. Sort of if you're like nicely balanced for a good squat, something like that. Take that foot out now. And rotate the hip. That bit shouldn't change too much. Might get a little bit more. But then as we bend this knee, we're coming down lower now. Get a nice stretch down into the inner thigh as well. Okay. Then you can just work your way around. So as you come up, we'll go back to that side net, stay where you are. If you take your arm now and take it to the outside of the hip, so we're bringing our chest around, as you do that, your hips will come around, you'll feel more stretch there, and as you bring that hip down, you'll feel even more of a stretch. Because now the knee is square to the front, whereas here it's sort of like, ooh, sort of out there a bit. Working this around by just bringing that hand to that shoulder, for instance. Slowly coming up, turn feet to the other side. Okay, turn the hips, bend the knee. Take the arm over that shoulder, squeeze yourself over the knee, nice and straight. And slowly coming out of that. Beautiful. Alright. Doing the other way is a little bit different. Trying to screw ourselves around this way. We'll do that shortly. Just got to be careful with that one. That's all. Alrighty. A little loosen up. So let's loosen ourselves up for those hips. Back the other way. That's the way. Whatever you like to do. You try and get, standing up, you try and get your knee there. Just try it. You just can't do it. Whereas on the floor, it just falls into place. Alrighty, so let's come to the floor once again. I know some of these stretches seem like, when we talk about them, they seem a little bit technical, but because we're using gravity to get into them, they shouldn't be too bad. So it's stretching the body up now. Just let the hip drop over the side. So it's like here, we're just taking that hip to the side, but we're hinged over. So we're not going back towards the heel. We're going at the right angles of that knee. The knee is collapsing underneath us. We're stretching the lateral hip here, we're stretching the glute, okay? So someone described the other day, it's like alien coming out of your backside. Like you can imagine popping right out. It's this beautiful stretch. I'm not quite sure the analogy is quite right, but certainly do get a feeling of your hip like popping out. Feel that stretch through that muscle. Slowly going to the other side, so nice and easy. So what else can we do in that? Well, we know we can hinge back and do that one, moving it around the back more. But what if we were to lean out like that and then just use our abs just to curl the tailbone under and release it? So a little bit like our cat stretch and cow's pose, that one. But what if we move the hips through that range whilst we're out to the side? What else do we feel like? We can feel that muscle working underneath. It's like a real good, really nice, deep, active stretch. So don't be afraid to really curl that tailbone under and stick that tailbone out the back. Ooh, feel that deep there. And then moving to the other side. So there's not many stretches we can actually move in whilst you're in the stretch. This is one that's great. Just moving that pelvis through that angle, tipping it forward and down, tailbone goes down, and then letting that tailbone come up and really squeezing that bum up towards the ceiling. Again, tipping that tailbone down, stretching through the back at the same time. And then out. And if you lose contact with that, like lean over, it's like just stop, just get back into there and go through there again. Ooh. Right, beautiful. Okay, let's just do some circles with the hips, release that. Change directions. Okay, some nice little scap push-ups, some shoulder blade push-ups. So, we're going to use the push-up for the stretch, of course. So, scapular push-ups, shoulder blade push-ups are these where we just go through, sinking down and up. We use them for a number of things, don't we? Especially mobilising. But we use them for stretching as well, so if we drop the chest through, we can get a stretch. The chest up here. Just really let those shoulders go. Now if we squeeze the shoulder blades together now, at the back, what do we feel? We feel those shoulders really come back now. We really feel these pecs starting to stretch down here. Okay, and if we slowly press away, bringing the shoulders forward. So what if we squeeze those shoulders together using the chest? Squeeze that chest together. Can we open those shoulder blades even more? Of course we can. So again, using the opposites to stretch. Remember, keep breathing, don't stop, now hold your breath. And release. So you need to do like, you don't have to do as many, you don't spend as long, we've got more activity in that, deeper stretch. The fibres are just working for us in every way possible to the muscles. Alright, some shoulder rolls, just loosen them back up, forward and backwards. Roll them over one way, roll them the other. Alright, beautiful. That's blimey. Time flies when you're having fun, doesn't it? Okay. Oh yes. And the next one I was going to do. So back on one knee, or the right knee. So if you want to come on your right knee, take the foot out in front, but this time take it out to the side. So it's about 45 degrees. Okay. All right. Just squeezing that knee out to the side like so. So it's nice and upright over the ankle and hinge down towards the front. Okay. So just squeezing that knee out. So remember when we were here and doing this? Now we're out there and we're sort of trying to simulate the same sort of thing. Just squeezing that knee out. We're effectively moving ourselves away from the knee
hinge back a little, hinge forward a little. Just move around in that stretch. Take your bum away, straighten that leg, take your bum towards it. Get your stretch in here. Like, just play around with these positions, see what you can feel. We've come down at our elbows now. Can we get there? We may be out a bit, we may not be. Okay, may not be able to quite get there. Just playing around with those angles through those hips. Slowly coming up. Go to the other side. So always start standing up. Let's get that foot out 90 degrees. Knees over the ankle. Okay. Just feeling what we can in the stretch. As soon as we start to move the hips through angles, we end up with all sorts of things. We feel all sorts of things. So just gently squeezing that knee back. We start here. Moving around. Move your chest away. It's the same. There's no real rule as to what you can do. Coming down those elbows close to the floor, doing whatever we need to do. Really good stretch, hey? Beautiful stretch. Okay, and coming up, nice and tall. Beautiful. Okay, let's lay on our belly. Stretch the quads out. Okay. Alrighty, so if you relax the legs now. Okay, so the quads are relaxed because you're laying flat down, you're nice and jelly-like. We're going to keep those thighs relaxed as we bring the leg up. The butt and the hamstring are doing that, okay, we don't need to use the quad. Quad's the opposite. Okay, so learning how to, so this little move we do here, just get a hold of your foot. Now, if that quad's relaxed, you should be able to get that heel to your bottom. Yeah. Alright, so if you want to effectively stretch one side using the other muscle, all we're going to do now is pull the butt muscle on, yeah? So if you pull the butt muscle on, just by squeezing that butt, you should feel the stretch starting to happen. Without really lifting the knee at all. We're just, by pulling the butt on, we're rotating the pelvis and feeling that stretch. If we want more, then we can just squeeze a little bit more and get the knee off the floor into extension. So we're using the butt to stretch the quad. Of course, doing this way because of the effort through the butt, you're getting a good stretch through the shoulder as well. And slowly relax. Other side. Let's come around this way. So making sure we're nice and chilled out through the front of the leg there. So it shouldn't be too hard to get that foot up, be able to reach that foot. Pull it into your bum. Like I say, some may feel it here, and as soon as you squeeze that butt on, you'll feel that quad come on. You feel it stretch a little more. Okay. If you're not quite there still, then you can effectively just pull that butt on a little more, lift the knee, get more of a stretch. Relax those shoulders, let them fall into the floor a little bit. That's good today. Nice. Right, gently coming up, turn the head the other side. And relax those shoulders down. Okay. Bring those arms up, nice and easy. And head to the front. Push yourself back. Just hinge back into a nice little child's pose. Wriggle yourself down. Reach those arms long. Again, I invite you to do stuff like push the arms away. If you push the arms away, you'll feel things happen. You pull them towards you, feel things happen. You rock your hips side to side, you feel stuff. Alright, and there we have it. Nice stretch session. Great. Alrighty. Okay, look forward to seeing you in the next class. Bit of yoga, I think. Flows on from this one.